Welcome everyone. So today we will start our next topic, which is what do all acids and all bases have in common. But before starting this topic, I want to say that most of you were asking for notes. If you want to prepare notes, you can prepare it by yourself, but not in your fair notebook, in any other notebook. I will also provide you notes after the completion of this chapter, so that notes you can write in your fair notebook. Now let us start with our topic. In section 2.1, we have seen that all acids have similar chemical properties. What leads to this similarity in properties? We saw in activity 2.3 that all acids generate hydrogen gas on reacting with metals. So if you remember, we discussed some of the chemical properties, like when acids they are reacting with metal, they are producing hydrogen gas. When acids they are reacting with metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate, they are producing carbon dioxide gas. When acids they are reacting with base, they are producing salt and water. Here if you notice that I am only saying acid, I am not saying any particular acid we have to take. Any acid, whether it is strong or it is weak, they are showing the same chemical property. So that is what here it is given. We saw in activity 2.3 that all acids generate hydrogen gas on reacting with metals. So hydrogen seems to be common to all acids. Let us perform an activity to investigate whether all compounds containing hydrogen are acidic. So here it is saying that when all acids they are reacting with metal, they are producing hydrogen gas. So it seems that hydrogen is common to all acids. Then the next question which arises, that whether all the compounds containing hydrogen are they having acidic nature. To answer this question, we will perform an activity. That activity is 2.8. Take solutions of glucose, alcohol, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, etc. Fix two nails on a cork and place the cork in a 100 ml beaker. Connect the nails to the two terminals of a 6-volt battery through a bulb and a switch as shown in figure 2.3. Now pour some dilute HCl in the beaker and switch on the current. Repeat with dilute sulfuric acid. What do you observe? Repeat the experiment separately with glucose and alcohol solutions. What do you observe now? Does the bulb glow in all cases? So here it is saying that you just see figure 2.3, you have to take 100 ml beaker and then you have to take a cork. In that cork you have to fix two nails and that you have to place in beaker, and then you have to connect these nails to two terminals of a 6-volt battery through a bulb and a switch. Like if you know how to just complete a circuit, that is all you have to do. Then in the beaker you have to pour some dilute HCl and then you have to switch it on. When you are switching on the current, then what observation you are having? You will find that when you are switching on the current, the bulb is glowing. So how the bulb is glowing? The bulb is glowing because the circuit is complete. Then how the circuit is complete? It is because the solution which you have taken, which is dilute HCl, that is containing ions, and as ions are present, that is why the bulb is glowing. Now when you are repeating this experiment with sulfuric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, again you will find that the bulb is glowing. That means in that case also, in dilute sulfuric acid solution also, the ions are present. But when you are repeating the same experiment with glucose and alcohol solutions, what you will observe? You will observe that in these two cases, glucose and alcohol, the bulb is not glowing. So what is the reason? Everything is same except that in the first two cases you have taken acid, dilute HCl and dilute H2SO4, and in the last one you have taken glucose and alcohol. This is the only difference. Actually when you are taking acid, when you are taking any acidic solution, then the ions are present, and as ions are present, then they are behaving as charge carriers, and that is how the bulb is glowing or electricity is passing through it. But when you are taking alcohol and glucose, in that case ions are not present, and that is why electricity it cannot flow through it and the bulb is not glowing. The bulb will start glowing in the case of acids as shown in figure 2.3, but you will observe that glucose and alcohol solutions do not conduct electricity. Glowing of the bulb indicates that there is a flow of electric current through the solution. The electric current is carried through the acidic solution by ions. So in acidic solution, ions are present, which is acting as a charge carrier, whereas in alcohol and glucose, ions are not present. So how in acids ions are present? In acids, in any acid, whether it is strong or weak, when any acid it is present, it is, you can say, dissolved in water. So whenever any acid we are taking, you can see that it is present in the liquid state. That means there is, it is already having some amount of water present in it. So in the presence of water, acids, they are breaking down into its constituent ions. For example, if you are taking hydrochloric acid HCl, then in the presence of water it is breaking down into H plus ion and Cl minus ion, that means hydrogen ion and chloride ion. If you are taking H2SO4 sulfuric acid, then you are getting H plus ion and sulfate ion, that means hydrogen ion and sulfate ion you are getting. So in any acid, if any acid is present in it is if any acid, if it is dissolved in water, if there is presence of water in that acid, then it is breaking down into its constituent ion. About this we will discuss in detail in the next activity 2.9 by taking the example of dry HCl gas and HCl solution. So in that we will be discussing, so it will be clear to you. So what you are finding common in all the acids? So the thing which you are finding common is hydrogen ion. That means any acid on dissolving in water or in the presence of water, it is producing H plus ion, and because of the presence of H plus ion, these substances or these compounds, they are behaving as acid. Now we have taken here the two example which are strong acid HCl and H2SO4. The next one, if you want to take the example of weak acid, you can take acetic acid, which is CH3COOH. So acetic acid also, when it is dissolved in water, or when there is presence of water in it, then it is also dissociating or breaking down into its constituent ion as H plus ion, hydrogen ion, and CH3COO negative ion, which is acetate ion. So in all the acids, whether it is weak, whether it is strong, there is presence of H plus ion, which is responsible for imparting acidic nature to these compounds. So here it is given that acids contain H plus ion as cation and anions such as Cl minus in HCl, NO3 minus in HNO3, SO42 minus in H2SO4, CH3COO negative in CH3COOH. Since the cation present in acid is H plus, this suggests that acids produce hydrogen ions H plus aqueous in a solution, which are responsible for their acidic properties. So I hope that it is clear. If anybody, or if you anywhere you are getting the question like that, why these compounds, and they can give you example of HCl, HNO3, H2SO4, these compounds, they are said to be acid. It is because these compounds in the presence of water, they are producing H plus ion, and as these all the compounds, they are producing H plus ion, and H plus ion is responsible for imparting acidic nature, acidic character to these compounds, they are said to be acid. You will find some sort of questions related with this activity afterwards. Repeat the same activity using alkalis such as sodium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, etc. What can you conclude from the results of this activity? Try to find the answer for this question. It is similar to that of the acid. I am just giving you a hint that as in case of acid, what we have got in common? H plus ion. In all the acid, H plus ion is present. Same way in all the bases, hydroxide ion, which is OH minus ion, is common. Now you try to find the answer of this question, that what will happen if you are just doing everything same, the same experiment, but instead of acid you are taking alkalis. Before that, I also want to clear that I think the first time you have came across the term alkalis, we were only using the term base. So there is a difference between base and alkali. Base is something which is having OH minus ion, and which is having all the characteristics and showing the same result with the indicators. Like if it is red litmus, it is going to change blue litmus, it is going to change into blue litmus. Same way with phenolphthalein and methyl orange. Then what is the difference between base and alkali? The difference between base and alkali is that when bases, they are soluble in water, they are said to be alkalis. That means Alkalis are those bases which are soluble in water. So what you are getting, that all bases they are not soluble in water. There are some bases which are soluble in water. For example, NaOH, KOH, that means sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, they are soluble in water. So such bases which are soluble in water, they are called alkalis, whereas some other bases which are not soluble in water, there are still some other bases which are very sparingly soluble in water. That means some of the amount is soluble and some of the amount is not soluble. That means it is not highly soluble in water. So there are some bases which are soluble, some bases which are not soluble. So the bases which are soluble in water, they are called alkalis, and the bases which are not soluble in water, they are termed as bases only. So you will get one relation between bases and alkali is that all the alkalis they are bases, but all the bases are not alkalis. I am repeating it once again because this is very important. All the bases, sorry, all the alkalis they are bases, but all the bases are not alkalis. So please understand this, think about this, you will definitely get this.